I'm a wedding planner, and I am good at my job. If a client wants something, I go above and beyond. I get them what they want, especially big clients. And Miss Laura was a big client. Her family had wealth that went back to the first colonies, and it didn't look like they'd lost any in the intervening 400 years. I remember touching up my lipstick in the vanity mirror above the driver's seat and thinking to myself that this was it. I was on the cusp of 40, and I was about to break into the event-planning upper echelon of one-percenter weddings. It would be Miss Laura's wedding, but it would be my coronation. Sweet little Laura ushered me into her home, and we spoke at length. Her expectations were very reasonable, and she knew what she was talking about. A life of debutante balls and campaign fundraisers and 500-person Christmas parties was the curriculum she'd learned from. There was only one thing that Laura wanted that no other wedding planner said they could get. I want the woman who lives in the House of Pounds. I furrowed my brow. Maybe Laura wasn't as reasonable as I thought she was. Why? The crone. Why on earth do you want her there? Because she's my great-aunt on my father's side, Laura said. That was news to me. I didn't know anyone who'd even met the infamous crone from the House of Pounds, and here was Laura claiming the old witch was family. May I ask why you or your father don't invite her yourselves? She pushed down on the hem of her skirt at her knees, and her smile faltered. You know why they call it the House of Pounds, don't you? Of course I knew. Everybody in town knew. But I lied. I don't pay attention to that sort of thing. But you know, Laura added more bite to her voice. I'll bet you even know the words. I involuntarily scanned for escape routes. What words? Say them, Laura said. Say the words, or I will find someone else to plan my wedding. Women from inherited wealth have the luxury of following through with threats. Laura had been kind and gracious to me, but she also expected me to dance to her tune. So I said the words. Welcome to the House of Pounds, where all are given just one round. First penalty's a pound of flesh, but try again, she'll take the rest. Do you know what it means? She said. This was like pulling teeth. I did not want to have this conversation, but I answered. I have an idea. Laura looked behind me, behind herself, and all around the room. I was a well-socialized woman. I knew she was about to tell me a secret. I was half right. She didn't tell me the secret, but she showed it to me. She hiked her skirt up all the way to her waist so I could see her panties, whole thighs, and buttocks. Laura's flesh was missing. A pound's worth, if I had to guess, from the inside of her thigh, right below her perineum. I shuddered. Laura's face reddened. She pulled her skirt back down before looking away. I thought I saw the glimmer of a tear welling in one of her eyes. She wiped her face. You see, I can't go back. I've given my pound of flesh. If I go again, she'll take the rest, I said. Laura nodded. Exactly. I have to tell you, I didn't see what the big deal was once I parked in the driveway and saw it up close. The House of Pounds was nothing more than a shabby example of Gothic revival architecture, an old money homestead that had faded along with the blue in the family's blood. If I had to guess, I'd say she was probably a hoarder and a cat lady. I highly doubted she deserved her reputation as an evilly mystical witch. I walked up and knocked on the door. It opened before I could knock twice. A little girl who couldn't have been older than 6 stood there in a traditional Victorian maid's outfit. Please come in, she said. She is expecting you. The grade school chambermaid indicated for me to walk down the main hallway. She used her thumb to point the way because the hand she pointed with had its 4 other fingers missing. This was the creepiest way I'd ever been welcomed into someone's home. But in for a penny, in for a pound. I laughed a laugh specific to my humming nerves and punny thoughts. I walked down the hallway until I saw another grade school chambermaid. She stood next to an open door through which I saw a room shadowed pitch black. This little girl was missing both of her hands. Have you ever seen a child missing a body part, let alone several? It's not just upsetting, it cores you like an apple. The closest I'd ever felt to that coring was after waking from a recurrent nightmare about my mother being torn apart by Rottweilers and thinking she might really have been mauled. My bowels felt stuffed full of lead shot and detached from my intestines. "Hello," I said, eyeing the girl's missing hands. "Are you okay?" She whispered like she was afraid someone was listening. "I have a secret to tell you." She waved one of her stumps inward. I leaned close to her and turned my ear.